of all of them.
Like a Wayland Yutani kind of thing going on.
Shimada Empire sets up the first moon base.
Shimada Holdings Group.
Shimada Holdings Limited. That's just how the mob is in Japan. Anyway,
holding the ultimates until the next season, maybe. Let's take a look at. Let's take a look at now.
Shimada Holdings holding on to those ults.
If there's going to be any changes up, Luke's still going to be playing tank here. TYG and Bazzy, so Week's actually in as well. It's a triple DPS setup for Talon.
Love it.
All three DPS players.
And actually, honestly, Brigitte is probably the ideal support for this because you kind of get that pseudo tank out of it as well.
Damn.
But when you lose members to headshots, it's not a good start.
I'll be honest, this is the only variation of Talon Esports lineup that we haven't seen. We've seen all three DPSs being floated one in and out. We haven't seen all three together, and right now,
well,
it's not leaving them in a big spot.
We still haven't seen all three of them together because one of them's been dead every single time. Still actually haven't seen this deviation of talent.
Oh, maybe you wish Kagoro's in here on the Diva or something right now, but we are also waiting to see if EMP comes up at any stage for TYG. We've kind of debated whether these are going to be scouting Sombras or whether these are going to be real Sombras. This one's definitely real.
I want to be a real Sombra. That's already an opening pick onto Perfect. This is what they've been after the whole time. Don't even need that EMP. This is what happens when the triple DPS goes off. It's, you know, it's volatile. It's feast or famine. It blows up in your face or it blows up in their face. This time it blew up in their face.
And it's a solo support on the side of Monster Shield, the kind of defense that we expect to see on that A defense, but now moving forward, look, TYG is already on to beat, already has the initial hack, already has the EMP for Talon Esports. Because their composition is so mobile and they can flank so easily, they can just get onto an objective and get around the other team. But where this EMP comes down is going to be so crucial.
Bazzy's got a Dragon Blade as well. TYG has been spotted here, though, so it's not all smooth sailing. But they can still connect this one in. Once they get that, it could be disastrous very quickly to Monster Shield.
So I haven't quite decided on what they want to do here. Pulse Bomb, I believe, has already got, but there's the EMP.
And the Dragon Blade straight onto Perfect and Beppo. Crazy trades one back, but it's only one. Does take the rally off the table. But actually now Talon are a little bit hamstrung. They've lost their only tank presence, and Haru can't heal up all those members by himself. So the push just ends up getting rebuffed. That was kind of the combo they were really relying on.
That's a gone, and I'd be expecting maybe a change up here, but also with this kind of lineup, you don't have your usual flex tank players, so even if you want to go to something conventional, one of your DPS players has to bite the bullet and play onto that flex tank pack. But currently, Talon Esports, I mean, they're going to try and make this work. If you're going to run 3 DPS players in your composition, you're going to run a 3 DPS composition still.
That's the thing, you've kind of got to commit. They're all in here from the substitution alone. And Beppo going on to a Sombra. He actually went on it briefly a moment earlier and then changed back onto the Zenyatta, but he's going in all in on the counter Sombra. Like, what is this, 2017? At any rate, speaking of all in, Talon going in with the ultimates. Beppo finds his counterpart. It's their only kill so far. Talon could actually start finding that critical mass. They did get the rally out. They've still got the Primal Rage as well to keep the fight alive, but they haven't got kills
using everything
quickly. Yeah, using everything, but not getting much for it. They really need to pick up more kills than this.
Now, Villeneuve still has mileage to go here. He's got himself a Primal Rage. But with Luke finally killing Persia, maybe this starts to go back the way of Monster Shield. As you say that, though, they need a lot more kills.
They're having a hard time really cracking into this, but there we go.
Looks like
a lot more kills is what they've just picked up, and Bazzy getting one with the Dragon Blade. That's all he even needs to get with the Dragon Blade. Even gets another one. That was, by the way, hacked out and low on health. Now deflects onto Beppo. Picks that one up. Excellently done, and yeah, just shy of an EMP. That could well be a second, third here. Rally from Crazy, but there's not many teammates who can take great advantage of it. Talon still getting kills through, even as they lose Persia, but now stuck in the Blizzard, having a hard time getting out of that one. And it will be off the back of that MSKR get a few key trades to stabilize. No second, third to come through for Talon.
Yeah, Monster Shield really just staying calm there as well. They could have continued to feed in members. They could have continued to trickle back onto the point, but they're willing to give up one tick there. They're willing to give up 53.3%. Come back as a full unit, then re-engage and retake that point. Beppo now gets to finally come back with his own EMP. TYG used it in the previous fight already. Both teams, defense and offense, running a Sombra. Both teams are looking to hack that health pack as well. It really takes me back in time.
I know, just... Honestly, I'm getting nostalgia here.
That's not even new Sombra. This isn't the permanent stealth Sombra. This is 1.24 Sombra.
You know, I did actually conjecture earlier. I don't know if that's actually the
no EMP
verb of it, but yeah, never mind that. Hold on, no EMP, sound barrier out as well, which means it can't be cancelled. Killing Beppo was ideal. Bazzi, another Dragon Blade. This guy's had so many. Not quite getting kills with it though. Trying to slash away at Perfect, finding nothing. Crazy did go down, but there's the respawn of Beppo and the EMP to follow as Luke just bumps and buffets these team members around. Talon gonna have to take this fight loss.
I gotta say, Beppo going down early, forcing Lee Jae Gon to use a sound barrier in response to losing this Sombra. Kind of put Monster Shield on the back foot for some time, and consider that Monster Shield, I mean, they had to really then pull out a couple more ultimates. The EMP, of course, came out, the Primal Rage came out. It ended up being a reasonably expensive defense, when realistically what should have happened is Beppo drops in, EMP arrives, and Monster Shield clean up. Instead, they had to use 3.
So as I was saying earlier, I think the term is conject, that maybe these teams are also getting back into the habit of Sombra, knowing that they go into playoffs on the new Sombra patch, but
why now?
Yeah, even then, why now, right? I mean, why not also play something technically more optimal? But at the same time, this doesn't feel sub-optimal. They're still getting a lot of mileage out of these Sombras.
There it is. EMP from Baz, rather from TYG right now.
There's
response
the kill.
Blizzard.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Blizzard just kind of hamstrings any follow-up onto that EMP, and Talon end up losing that fight pretty quick, smart. And it puts that EMP Seesaw back over to Beppo.
The problem with the EMP Seesaw so far is you'd expect the attacking team, when the Seesaw goes their way, to get a lot more mileage off an EMP, whereas so far the Seesaw has been Beppo and Monster Shield win when they have EMP, Beppo and Monster Shield win even when they don't have EMP, and that's a really crazy part of Talon, are not getting mileage off this pick anymore.
Beppo is just the fat kid at the playground. The fat kid always wins at Seesaw.
Yeah, it's just
sitting there like, bring it on. I dare you. Skinny Jim sits down on the other side like, take that. Beppo has got you covered.
Persia
got that way down.
We're still seeing this Mayhem play from Perfect as well, and
that was a bit bizarre. It wasn't an ideal position from BK, but it still actually found Bazzi. So even as Beppo goes down, again, no EMP to come out from him, at least not just yet. And Luke getting aggressive up in this corner. Talon are getting some kills, but it does, again, feel like a matter of time. There isn't that, like I say, critical mass of kills. They haven't overwhelmed Monster Shield Korea's respawn room just yet. And now the kills go back the way of MSKR. Talon take another loss.
We also had that weird place where that Seesaw actually equalizes. TYG didn't get to use his EMP, which means both teams actually have it. This kind of goes in favor of Talon because they did force some more ultimates out of Monster Shield. So if you look at it now, Talon have about 6 coming up. If they can get an EMP down that blocks out Beppo, they'll win. But counter to that, if Beppo gets an EMP, these ultimates on Talon's side, all 5 of them, nearly 6, are not going to be effective at all.
That's the thing, if you got 6 ultimates and you've got EMP'd, you get no ultimates. Now Talon with all of them, I mean, if they can't do it now, they can't do it at all, right? It's all down to where the Beppo goes. There we go, they've got it straight out early on. Very proactive, very direct, I would say, with their ultimates. Very decisive.
Good counter by Haru.
Doesn't get too much out, but yeah, the sound barrier there out of Haru keeps the team safe while they were all hacked out. And now they pop Luke as well, just shy of a Primal Rage. They need to kill Perfect though. He will be a priority target because if he can get a Blizzard off, they can stabilize the defense. They pop BK though. They've got the tank line out of the picture altogether.
Luke died.
Yeah, just shy of that rally as well. Crazy went down. Perfect though. He is going to get his ultimate off before going down. Lee Jae gone. Not so lucky. In fact, a long way away from a sound barrier. They can finish off Luke again. No Primal Rage. That's a second, third.
2 in a
they
row.
might be able to get a third one. No one's on it. Talon, 11th hour superpower. Gonna make it happen on Anubis.
What a credible run of events there, but we did expect, look, 5 ultimates, about 6 ultimates coming through from Talon Esports. Like you said, if it wasn't going to be on that push, it probably wasn't going to be at all. That's definitive because it was also their last push, but they had the best opportunity. And interestingly enough, everyone kind of did what they needed to do across both Sombras and across both Sound Barrier on the Lucio plays as well. If either Lucio player pulls the trigger too early, sound barriers before an EMP gets cancelled out, it's a disaster. If either Sombra gets caught in an EMP, it's a disaster. So what you end up having is Beppo dodging out TYG, you have Lee Jae Gon responding with a sound barrier, Beppo then uses his EMP, doesn't get Haru, who then responds with a sound barrier. Both sides played that scenario so well, but it just so happens Talon Esports, if it goes even, They had more mileage with the ultimates, they had more ultimates to play with, and expectedly they kept.
And also Monster Shield Korea just didn't even get half their ultimates off, couldn't get a good rally out of Crazy, didn't get any Primal Rage out of Luke, he died.
Might have been hacked, I'll give him that.
He probably was, but it's still rough to die 3 times with that ultimate fully charged
Let's
up.
check.
So this is the 3rd of those times. Dives in, wasn't even hacked, just got killed that quickly.
Okay, that's unfortunate. That now you could have forgiven him previously, maybe.
The first one was hacked from the EMP. I believe the second one may have just been hacked the regular old way, but yeah, that last one.
Luke died again. What's going on?
Ah, geez, Luke, get it together. That one is a bit different. But, I mean, yeah, the point still stands. MSKR couldn't get the mileage out of the ultimates they didn't have. Sorry, they did have. They also couldn't get mileage out of ones they
exactly,
didn't have.
Because they just had less ultimates.
But that's normal.
They just had less ultimates to start with, and they needed a lot more out of their own EMP. But like I said, both Lucios played the scenario so well. If Haru messed up the sound barrier, then we'd be in trouble for Talon.
Speaking of being in trouble for Talon.
Again, Monster Shield should know something's up.
Trouble in Talon Town. Monster Shield, though, this time Talon get aggressive. They actually take the dive, they take the proactive play, and it pays off. They do lose Persia. Need to be careful to not lose Villeneuve as well, but he is going to be able to back up to the safety of Haru. Monster Shield going to get that one handed to him.
I gotta say, the difference this time is Talon Esports, first of all, playing a far more mobile composition. Second of all, pulled the trigger early enough that they can actually catch Monster Shield. You saw the moment when Monster Shield realized the jig was up. There's no defense. Something's wrong, but it's too late. Talon already went in.
Only problem is something is still wrong because Talon lost some members quite late in that, and Monster Shield have a closer respawn. They know it, so they commit. Talon are hard on the back foot right now. Already a 3rd over to Monster Shield Korea. Talon don't want to give this one up just yet, though, so still looking for a way into the fight, trying to get a wraparound on VK. Pulse Bomb does make it count, but they lose Persia, and now they lose a week, so Talon, despite the re-engage, still not going to get this. They're not going to burn much time off the clock either. The cap goes over to MSKR on point 8.
And Talon, by the way, are very committed to running this composition. Still with the triple DPS. Again, they have 3 DPS players in this lineup, utilizing all of them, but this defense has to really count right now because there's ultimates available for Monster Shield where they're not for Talon, at least for the time being.
Triple DPS is tough on a defense as well. You don't just have this flat health bars to stall with tanks up. TYG got the EMP off before dying, but that's all he was able to get off. They've stabilized anyway off this Dragon Blade and the extra damage on the counter dive. They nearly lost a 3rd there, but Talon have survived the most important wave of attacks.
The good news is, right, they have the EMP available, and that should be able to stop any attack. When Monster Shield want to go in, you don't get the snowball advantage, you don't get those fat ultimates if the EMP is available to counter, and now it's starting to swing. Haru's about to get himself the sound barrier, and that means for Talon Esports, they get to equalize, at least for the time being.
One thing that is heavily unequal, though, look at that. Beppo just got a rally off. Persia was at 20% when he got that. And now Persia is dead. There's the sound barrier out for Haru, and Talon already in recovery mode. Monster Shield Korea still have tools at their disposal. Crazy doesn't really get much with that Dragon Blade, unfortunately, but Bazzi did die, and MSKR have capped a 3rd. Talon still trying to rescue this fight somehow. Perfect. Getting damage out with the Pulse Bomb allows them to finish off Villeneuve. And MSKR just keeping on top of this fight without too much difficulty. The volatility again of that triple DPS blowing up in Talon's face this time around as the members of MSKR just racking up kill after kill as the respawners come out of the base gates.
All they have now is maybe an EMP, maybe they have this Dragon Blade as well, but Bazzi needs to charge himself in time. They're still losing so many members.
They got Luke at least a week though, doesn't stay alive for long enough. Here's Bazzi with the blade. Haru also goes down, but they pick Lee J gone, and Persia comes out so clutch. These last few members just barely stabilizing for Talon.
And it's Persia and also Bazzi. No, he got the double with that Dragon Blade. So while the EMP bought some time, allowed Bazzi to charge the blade in, got himself 2, Persia just goes in on the opportunity as well, finds the other 2. Suddenly, Talon have stabilized. But for how much longer? 2 ticks are already gone. It doesn't take much effort now from Monster Shield to actually finish the cap.
Talon are at least coming into some better ultimates this time. The rally is going to be very important. Persia's first of the game, and they've got a Primal Rage that helps them stall a lot. And already Beppo dead. Yeah, great help. Crazy as well. These are very important kills to get this early in the fight. Also helps preserve a lot of the armor from that rally as well.
I want to set the stage here for this defense as well. Consider that Talon Esports, if they lose the cap at all, with time remaining for Monster Shield Korea, we're going to be in a scenario in Time Bank where the best that Talon can do is draw. If Talon get a draw, they will still lose. Monster Shield are 2-0 in this series, which means Talon Esports, they have to either full hold, or at least if Monster Shield are going to cap, it has to be in the over. In fact, no, even if Monster Shield cap in the overtime, it might not be good enough.
This is the sort of situation where miracles are made. Only 1/3 left. That is not much ground left to give on the side of Talon. And 3.5 minutes that they got to defend it for as Crazy already opens one up on Persia, despite that sound barrier being in the mix. Where are the answers? Where are the trades for Talon? Where are they going to get kills in respond? Bazzy needs to get that blade out. There's an EMP. Here's the blade to follow it up. An instant conversion. Talon going to be able to stabilize once again on the defense. And now we've actually got to start asking, when will MSKR get another decisive attack? Because even when things have gone well, they've not actually secured kills of their own.
But the problem is, Monster Shield have still got 3 minutes remaining. They've had some very lightning quick offenses. Talon Esports have had to clutch every single defense so far. It's been always on the edge. Who's going to get the next ultimate? Who can secure kills? They've never really been ahead on this defense. They've just had to come out with a clutch EMP or a clutch blade and save the fight.
TYG's playing with fire back here. He does have a bit of backup from a weak, but a weak could be in a tough spot as well. Bazzy as well is going on to Doomfist. Oh dear. Ooh, he's able to pull back. That was nearly rough.
Well, it's actually a good pick considering that Monster Shield have gone on to the GOATS comp now. The other pick he could have gone for is the Farah, but bygones be bygones.
He's in a bit of a trouble, but they're diving in, trying to get rid of Luke. But this is where, honestly, MSKR can just out-heal whatever Talon throw at them, and they lack the tanks. Persia dies just shy of a rally. They really need that here. I think it will be it. TYG low is going to go down. Will not get an EMP out. Haru, 2 people he catches with that sound barrier. Persia with the rally, not getting enough members. Villeneuve can't get to the point to help stabilize it. Bazzy's dead again. Persia's dead again. And it's just too much. It is damage overwhelming. MSKR cap it out with 1 minute 52 remaining on the clock. That is a humdinger for the time bank.
You got to say as well, a lot of compliments you got to give for Monster Shield. The fact that they were able to reset so quickly, get into another fight so quickly. At no point, if you're a Talon Esports on that B defense, do you really feel like you had the ability to just slow the fight down, to just have it go your way, get your footing down, really dig in deep and bunker up. Monster Shield just kept pummeling. They just kept on coming in. Fights again, resetting super quickly. Because of that, I don't think Talon Esports were ever in a safe position. And now they're not in a winning position. This time back means Talon Esports officially are not going to be able to win this match.
That's the thing. Don't be fooled. Zanubis is still running, but the match, at least in terms of the final result, is as good as done. Best result Talon can get now is a draw, and that is if that's not just a straight loss all up on Temple of Anubis. And it also means that Talon will take the 3rd place seed, Monster Shield Korea will take the 1st place seed, and Matchy, their fate has been sealed in the 2nd. It has all at last been settled. The question is now, will Monster Shield hand Talon a comprehensive loss? Or can Talon take this to a draw, maybe even claw one back on Escort, still have a decent showing before playoffs?
And this is all for morale going into playoffs. So it's all for kind of the pride, the confidence going into playoffs. So Monster Shield still need themselves to collect the 4-0 for Talon Esports, bring something back around. I think it'd be a little upsetting, a little disappointing if Monster Shield were going to clean sweep it.
I almost wish this team had invented GOATS comp instead of the team GOATS, just so that we could then call it Monster Shield, because it's quite apt if you think about it. Speaking of, diving straight in, they find TYG, drop Villeneuve. Yeah, Talon, there is little to no resistance.
The shield is monstrous.
Up here, unfortunately, exactly. The shield just too monstrous for the likes of Talon's clutches. They're going to lose too many members. That'll be the 3rd going over. Emotes on the point, boys. MSKR, having already sealed it, will actually take it as a map win as well, getting up to 3-0, now threatening the 4-0 victory all up.
And even in that final time bank defense, Talon are just going to stick to their guns of running the exact same composition, triple DPS with TYG on the Sombra. And it feels like King's Row in the time bank where for Talon Esports, they just needed to hold for 1 minute. And the theme here for Talon Esports, unfortunately, has to go, they wanted to play high risk, high reward. They wanted to take a risk here and say, if we do something different that maybe Monster Shield don't react to or don't respond well to or don't see coming, maybe we can get a win. But the issue I see here is Talon could have decided to play conventional, and they probably would have come out way better. They just were stuck on that triple DPS for the entire map, and were not interested in changing.
The reality is, though, Talon didn't just lose Temple of Anubis. They also lost Lijiang Tower very comprehensively. They also lost King's Road. That one was a little bit closer, but it's a loss nonetheless. And when you
fine margins.
When you look at a situation where it feels like it's fine margins, but it's still actually a 3-0, look, the one angle is, well, it's closer than the score would tell you, but the other angle is, despite the closeness, one of these teams is just straight up better than the other. And that counts for a lot more when playoff times comes, and it is where these two teams are now headed. Playoffs. If Talon go into their quarter looking good, but never getting it over the line, well, guess what? 3-0 is you're out.
I just have to question whether this is actually Talon considering, you know, a real prospect for winning, or is Talon saying, we're down 2-0, we know we're not getting knocked out, let's do something crazy.
Try something else.
I have to have that writing in the back of my mind,
maybe.
because it just seems so strange that for Talon Esports that they want to do this, and it's stranger yet that they weren't willing to try and swap things up again. For a team that wants to play this triple DPS exactly the way it is, never adapting aside from that basically one change under Doomfist, for them to be so adamant into continuing to do that, it just doesn't seem like, as much as I hate to say it, they were trying to win that.
And I mean, we did actually talk about this earlier in the night, and it could kind of relate back to that. You know, we are going to a new patch into playoffs. If you've got something up your sleeve that you haven't had a chance to use yet, even something you want to try as a last-ditch effort, this is your last time to actually do that. So hey, maybe taking the triple DPS, because it was something that happened in the substitution phase, not just in the team comp itself. Maybe that was what they were going for here. But at any rate, that is ancient history. We go on to map 4 to see if MSKR can secure the 4-0, and it will happen on Rialto.
I've also got to say the opposite of that would be to play so conventional that you really reveal nothing, because you're playing the exact thing that you would be expected to play. You play the exact thing that your opponents would probably be expected to play as well. So you're just fitting your foot right into the shoe of the meta. Perfect fit. Nothing you really gain from it. Nothing the other team, or the other teams, I should say in this case, for playoffs contention, really gain from it. You're just playing what you'd normally play anyway, so you're not revealing any additional information. So there is the opposite side of that, and I do have to wonder, for Talon Esports, if they wanted to hide information here, they could have played standard, they could have had a better chance at winning, and maybe they'd come out ahead. Maybe they'd be first place.
But also, if you're going to test out that triple DPS, hey, maybe it's been working for them in scrims, and they wanted to iron out the kinks in the sort of live play environment. Look, better here than in the playoffs, right? Like, it's still not good. I still don't. I too would prefer that they just kind of, you know, stick to what at least has worked when they've won. But also, look, it's not the end of the world. They do actually still get to go into playoffs. They probably weren't going to win at that point.
Thing is,
it's just, it is what it is.
I do agree, but at the same time, at what point do you ask yourself, this isn't working anymore? Because
right now, is that
sure, but you've already lost a map, and I mean Rialto is coming up now. But the point being is, you're in the time bank, the final time bank, and you're still gonna go for it. That to me just seems far too weird. At what point do you have to say the experiment is over and has failed to go back to something normal?
Canal boat shooting. Gondola sniping. It's a favorite pastime.
All the activities you can partake in, you get to Rialto.
Come to Rialto!
Oh, good news, Kakora's back in the lineup. And Nev now coming in for Luke as well on the Master Shield side. I do actually want to see a little bit more TYG Tracer. This is kind of what he's known for, so
That's
the
TYG
namesake here would be important.
It's TYG in a week as well. So we're seeing like the full run of Talon team comp possibilities, at least in terms of the lineup. the roster. So, it is Haru the first casualty out the gate.
There it
Trade
is.
one back onto Lee Jae-gong. That's TYG.
That's the only healer for Monster Shield.
And finds Crazy as well. Just the 2 for none there after Haru had respawned. Now 3-0 up in the fight. Talon are going to have no trouble cracking the courtyard.
It's just the kind of play you expect out of TYG, and I mean, Perfect right now just attempting to hide. It's like if I face the wall, if I can't see the danger, it can't see me. And apparently it's working right now, but again, complimenting TYG, sniping out Lee Jae-gong as the Tracer player, just diving in there, getting him done. That's all you need.
It's only a matter of time till someone turns around, right? Surely. Oh no, he's just given his position away, unfortunately. Right as Persia was there.
That's,
guess who headshots who?
Climactic.
Yep, and Crazy does get res, but just kind of gets res straight back into the action to die again. The rest of the team takes a dive. Gong rings out, and Talon, no contest.
Full reset. They knew it was done. They needed something more out of Perfect there. If you're going to wait the entire time, your first shot better be good. Better at least get a headshot, even if you don't get a kill, allowing Monster Shield to maybe convert off it. But unfortunately, that's not how the cookie crumbles, at least for that first defense. Talon Esports now get to walk through with a lot of ult advantage, and Monster Shield, big resets, a lot of members changing their heroes.
And that does mean that Talon are going to be able to get a lot more progress before MSKR are really in a position where they can get a defense going, especially when you consider this grab ought to come out in just a few moments. MSKR pushed back towards the payload, but there's the grab. Largely shield up, that's not ideal, but never mind. Pulse bomb in the mix, plus the charge in. Really, they actually have no trouble dealing with the members.
It's such a classic combo as well, grab into a pulse bomb. That's exactly what I see you want out of this, and again, TYG is able to just get these kills in there, able to get the damage, and that's not the type of DPS I'd expect in this composition. Usually it'd be a Hanzo in a Widow, not a Tracer in a Widow.
It's like an old Clint Eastwood Western, classic combo. A week does get dived upon, and they do lose TYG, so Talon not quite cracking this one as quickly, as easily. In fact, they'll crack it at all if they're not careful. MSKR starting to dish a few back, at least in terms of positioning. Hasn't quite turned into kills just yet. Earth Shadow went down, got snuck under Inev's shield, but they can't follow up on it. Talon is still on the retreat, largely.
Let's see now if either team can really get some kills in, because note that the ultimate's starting to come online from Monster Shield. Rally already came down, caught in their possession as well. For Talon Esports, it seems that their attack is what has been slowed down so far.
Yeah, run out of steam a little bit. And that means MSKR, the momentum can kind of flip-flop their way.
Waiting for combo.
Exactly, they're the ones getting the ultimates up.
No grab yet.
Yeah, Perfect throws his one out. If they can get quick kills off it, they at least got Haru. Need to get a little bit more though. Yeah, there we go. Getting Gogora, bumping at him off the edge there. Ideal pick from Lee Jae-gong, because they did actually have the grab bomb combo that could have turned things around if MSKR didn't kill those members quick enough.
The problem was Perfect dropped his grab so early that a week, rather TYG didn't quite have the grab, or the pulse bomb I should probably say, available. A week now going to change onto the Pharah. With Talon Esports, they also didn't have the Transcendence available to counter up the Graviton Surge from Perfect, so resetting seems ideal. Monster Shield not even going to attempt to stay hidden for too long. They get spotted out early.
Oh, good sleep on a week. It actually forces Bingo to move forward.
Denied the charge.
Block him. Yeah, the charge does get denied on both sides of the coin. There's the grab bomb combo. And no dramas, malamas. Talon going to push that one straight on through. That was actually a bit tricky for a second there. Villeneuve had to move forward with the shield up to protect a week. But it all paid off. MSKR weren't quite able to do anything with that forced position from Talon.
It was just so well timed by Villeneuve. You knew Ineb was going to charge in. So you're the other Reinhardt player. You immediately charge back at him, stun both of you. And it doesn't matter. A weak, or rather Haru this time, going to get slept up. But the issue is, despite getting these sleeps, Monster Shield have not been able to kill the targets.
Now just under 3.5 minutes as Talon continue the march forward. Going deep in with the nano boost is Inev. He got Gogora, but he got raised back up. That's an Earth Shatter and a half. Sound barrier out to try and rescue the team. They do keep the members alive for a bit longer, but it is only a bit longer. Perfect traded off for Villeneuve, and actually that could just be enough unless a week really wants to commit this barrage. He decides he does. Doesn't get much with it though. Gets shot out of the sky for his trouble. And Talon gonna get repelled.
This has been a strangely difficult affair for Talon Esports. Outside of the bomb grab combo, they haven't had much mileage. I mean, a week onto the Pharah has been mostly ineffective. The pepper damage, just the sky rockets have been doing something, but haven't led to enough kills, not nearly enough. Combo's roughly out of sync here as well. TYG needs to charge this up a little bit quicker. So does Gagora, but now Nev has the Shadow, so expecting proactivity coming out of Monster Shield.
They've shown the willingness to play proactively as well. Even maybe when sometimes they shouldn't. Talon, still waiting for that grab bomb combo. There's going to be, again, the nano boost going on top of an Nev. He gets aggressive. Earth Shadow, though, this time gets blocked up by Villeneuve's shield, and Gagora now holding on to the grab, commits it in. There's the pulse bomb, and every time it just works a charm. MSKR not able to get the fight going quick enough, not able to get the kills through in time, and Talon's counterattack is just too sweet and succulent.
And the thing is, it really shouldn't be working this well. Note that the Pulse Bomb currently only does 300 damage. This isn't the old Pulse Bomb that does 400, and still with 300 damage, they're able to collect these tanks every single time. It's been far too consistent, and that is a worrying thing for Monster Shield on the defense.
And that's when you consider they committed ultimates as well. Ooh, Earth Shatter a little bit funky there.
Wow,
that's
Sky
an
Grab.
Interesting grab. I do like it. It's able to get a weakened Haru off the table, and that's a pretty big duo to knock off. Perfect. Don't know what happened there. Took a dive. With the Nev and Crazy going down, Talon can actually try and stabilize here, even though they don't have Haru. They need to keep Persia alive, though, and that's easier said than done. The sound barrier on, now to Lee J gone, means MSKR are very much committed to trying to stabilize here, and they do have the respawn advantage to back it up, but they're losing members still.
Waiting for the barrage this time around. You're not going to get a Pulse Bomb, but you'll be happy to at least get this basic combo from Season 1 even.
I think that's it. They're going to cap that one out as the gong comes through with just under a minute, 51 seconds, I believe it was. And that was just kind of unstoppable force out of Talon. I mean, I say that even with them getting stalled and stopped up in places, but that's what it felt like. It felt like a force of nature, that grav bomb, just TYG popping off at all times.
But again, it just, you have to consider that it really probably shouldn't have been that case. This combo is a little bit ancient, somewhat outdated even, but they're able to bring it through, able to make it effective, and you got more questions for Monster Shield than their ability to survive that. It's again, just being too consistent for what shouldn't be the game-winning combo. You'd expect a Grand Dragon to be way more consistent, do way more damaging, and have higher utility overall. What do you really get out of Pulse Bomb at the end of the day if you landed on somebody, can't really expect a kill there, doesn't have too much utility. You throw out a Dragon, if it doesn't get kills, you still split up the other team, which gives you a lot of space to work with. So you got to consider that Talon Esports Grab Dragon should have been the go-to, but for some reason, the Pulse Bomb was working.
And I think what they were getting, at least, is the thing you don't get out of the Hanzo, which is the flank potential you get from a Tracer. And they were also getting mileage out of that. You saw that actually, especially in the early stages of the game. It was TYG getting a double kill that allowed them to break the courtyard, honestly.
On Lee J specifically.
Yeah. And I mean, that was a real difference maker there. So, I mean, they're making it work. That's the thing. They're playing to the strengths of Tracer. They're not trying to make it a Hanzo replacement. They're making it just Tracer.
Which is why I have questions for Monster Shield, because they actually did run crazy on the Brigade at one stage, did kill TYG at one stage, but didn't quite have enough effectiveness to stop out this Tracer. And to be quite fair, it's even the fact that he was allowed to get so much Pulse Bomb charge in the first place. If he's being shut down, he's not getting damage in, you're not going to have the combo in the first place. So big questions for Monster Shield and the ability for them to stop that. And I guess the answer was they couldn't. And Talon Esports, if they couldn't stop it before, well, keep TYG on the Tracer now.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Something we do say a lot, but something that rings true a lot. It's TYG hovering around the flanks, looking for his way in, straight on top of Perfect. Doesn't quite get the quick kill that he was after. And it's a weak that's going to be the first casualty.
I do also want to say right now, the symptoms for Talon are also that if it's broke, also don't fix it, in the case of Temple of Anubis. So we'll see how far that one gets them.
That's a fair call. Villeneuve goes down as a weak, gets raised, so Talon, they're finding themselves getting broken on this defense pretty much as handily as Monster Shield Korea. They do actually trade a couple back here, so they can maybe take a secondary defense at this next point.
They're forced into a secondary defense reasonably early here. Note the cart's nearly at the exit. And this is not what you want to see for a defensive team. You want them to have held up into the choke, and, well, they have to rely on the second choke now.
very suboptimal, but they are maybe going to get some ultimates at play here. That grab now coming up for Gagora. They don't quite have the bomb to combo it with. As I say, that TYG's nearly got it. Fast grab indeed. TYG not quite able to get the bomb out in time, and they also don't get the damage to close out kills inside that grab. That means Monster Shield Korea able to kind of bounce back from that one a little bit, even as Gagora, amazingly still alive, dishes out hurt. MSKR with the closer respawns, still keeping tabs on Talon, still keeping them killed. That should result in a cap before too long.
TYG's starting to keep this one alive, actually buying enough time for Villeneuve to get in. I was starting to question why Talon Esports were committing so hard with the ultimates. Note that both Haru and Persia, double defensive ultimates on the support side, were committed there. Haru even dies with the Valk in the middle of a resurrection, probably one he shouldn't have been taken. But they do manage to defend.
Oh, that's a great pick from TYG.
God, he's an assassin.
And he's got the pulse bomb out, which means he tries to go to Lee Jae Gong as he's going in for the res. Unfortunately, threw it straight into VK's shield.
That's what should happen. This is what you expect. The pulse bomb to not really have the consistency outside of the grab, but now the combo has been kind of, I mean, it's just not going to be a combo, really.
Yeah, and there's going to be the grab to come out from VK. Very quick conversion on the kills there, and it's exactly what Talon weren't able to get on Gagora's most recent grab. So, Monster Shield Korea, off the back of that, going to cap out A at last.
They did lose a lot of time. Crazy Eels going to take down TYG, so TYG's been a real problem.
Ripping pepperoni.
Which has been a surprise, but you're pleased to have one if you're Talon Esports. You're pleased that surprise is going in your favor. We'll see how far they can get on this B defense, because they're still relying on roughly the same combo here, and I just don't know how far it's going to get them, and if Monster Shield can actually react to it properly.
Talon still getting some ultimates up. Oh, Earthshatter out of a Nev, and they had already picked Villeneuve, so they should actually be able to convert kills off this one. Won't have too much of a hard time closing that fight out, and that means they keep the momentum in terms of the payload movement. Talon, despite having some good ultimates there, didn't get anything like a good start to that fight.
Well, here's where the real question comes in, because Gagora's nearly onto the grab again. They also have double support ultimates, so expecting Talon to hold quite firmly if they commit a reasonable amount of these. The opposite is also true, because VK looking for that grab himself.
We'll have it soon, but Gagora has it just a little bit earlier. If he can find a good one and they can throw the bomb in, but MSKR are expecting it. Yeah, straight in on top of it, but there's the pulse bomb. It still sticks in. Counted out this time, though, by the Transcendence. Excellent timing by Beppo. And you're right, just a touch too telegraphed, even though VK went down. Talon have just got enough kills to make this count, but that was very expensive a fight.
You suddenly start to see what happens when that pulse bomb doesn't really get the damage. And that being said, TYG, amongst the chaos, still manages just to get around the side. And Beppo's had a really tough game because TYG's been on his back for so long. And you're in a sort of meta as well as a Zenyatta player. You're not expecting a Tracer, so you've had a much easier gameplay. You only need to deal with Widowmaker, so what's in front of you is important. Now you've got to deal with a Widowmaker in front of you and also Tracer behind you.
Oh, man. Nothing like a headshot. I love the counter sniper headshots especially. Those are just the best. Oh, man. Oh, poor Crazy. Gets res, goes straight back down. A week does finally get picked off, but Talon have already had a pretty comprehensive win in this fight. Just TYG really popping off.
Got a triple kill in that. Just seemed too easy, seemed way too simple. And you start to believe that Monster Shield are not going to be able to do this. They already have a 3-0, so they win no matter what, but it is kind of getting into a nervous state for them, and you lose confidence in this ability, and their ability for them to actually close out a 4-0 to finish with a perfect record here.
You wonder where TYG has been this whole time. Does
playing Sombra, apparently.
Yeah, playing Sombra. Does go down in that fight, and they pick Haru up with that Dragon Strike. Earthshatter as well from Villeneuve. Trying to just stabilize in this fight. It looks like it has worked, getting just enough out of the Earthshatter. Now buffeting Inev back. They ideally want to kill him as we pass that minute mark remaining. MSK are still brawling rather around the payload.
Beppo lucky to stay alive here as well. Just TYG constantly on his back. If this does make it to the end of B, it will be an overtime. TYG not able to kill Beppo. Gets Crazy instead.
Opens the door for them to pick off Inev as well, and that means they get to res TYG. The team can move far enough forward that that is a possibility, and immediately he pays them back by killing Perfect. Now as we move below 30 seconds, Talon is still ahead
The Monster Shield can't afford to reset again. They're losing way too much time, too much space. They have to push back into Talon, who themselves are almost at Monster Shield spawn. And so for Monster Shield, by the time they touch the cart, we're likely to be at the overtime. If they're going to cap it all, we'll definitely be in the overtime. And then how do they finish the map after that?
And they're still going to get through a grab here, which is just going to be thrown out early so that this team cannot get to the cart. Overtime begins. They are on the cart, but Crazy's dead. Trade back. Persia didn't get to use that ultimate. That's very big. Beppo gets one, but Talon still have the members in play here a week if he can get a few shots.
BK still got a grab.
Yeah. BK does still have a grab, but Talon can still respawn and maybe take a secondary defense here. Oh, what? Onto a wig just to stop the contest.
Oh, it's worth it.
Kind of smart. Totally pays off. Talon still going to go in and commit for this fight, but it's too late. The point went over, and now they are sorely on the back foot. As I say that, TYG just kind of unbalances MSKR.
He comes back, but unfortunately comes back too late. You see the cart go over the finish line just as TYG is about to blink in. So there is a world where maybe Talon Esports prevent this camp had TYG just arrived sooner, or maybe a week survives the Dragon, or survives the Graviton Surge, or whatever. Maybe kills VK. A lot of different scenarios, but the fact remains, Monster Shield barely get it across the line. 1 minute remaining to finish the entire map. I don't think it's doable.
That was a big brain play out of VK, though, to solo grab a week on a Widowmaker. Great catch on TYG. And just to note as well, it's now Perfect who is playing playing the Zarya. And MSK have gone for a full goats. Getting aggressive now. TYG is going to come back out on a Farah.
You know it's serious when even TYG has to swap here. Talon Esports, they have the right composition, but can they get this running in time? The Sleep Dart barely misses.
Oh, catch onto Beppo, and it looks like they have got it going, because that really hurts MSKR's game plan here. They can still rally. They are lean on time. They're not going to be able to wait for a proper respawn. They're going to have to find a way in a 5 versus 6.
And there's a tire.
Yeah, exactly. Having to do it through a tire. There's the rally to come out. If this tire even gets just one good kill. There's a sound barrier, though, so weak is to wait even longer. Gets in Nev, does go down. That's a favorable trade for Talon when you consider how many ultimates just went out of MSKR and the closer respawns as they start to just fight on the point. Grab to catch a few members of MSKR. Perfect has his own now, answers one straight back. Doesn't catch members of Talon, but there aren't many members of Talon around in the first place. Perfect now getting the damage.
He's
out
trying.
Down a week. They're trying to stabilize Talon. Can they do this? Can they keep it held up here? They may just be able to, and a transcendence out of Persia. They will hold it off. Get one map back, just the one. It stops the full 4-0. Keeps them with just a little bit of confidence as they go into playoffs, but they will go into playoffs with that third place seed. Monster Shield Korea will secure first in their group, and that does end up leaving Machi in second place.
I think this is a very important one map win for the side of Talon Esports, and also kind of a question answered in some way as well, because there are still some supports being caught in the grabs. I mean, that's your 300 damage there, but at the same time, I think going back to the map win itself, look, Talon going into playoffs with an 0-4 versus Monster Shield would have been probably pretty detrimental, pretty soul-crushing in many ways. I mean, that's
to say the least.
Kind of really sucks for your morale, but moving in with at least one map win, and it has been decided now, we absolutely know that's going to be Monster Shield taking first place in Group A. Talon Esports going to be in third place after losing this, and Machi slot into second. And Machi, big fans of Talon Esports to try and get the reverse sweep in, but just not going to be the case. Talon Esports, one map win off the back of some great plays by TYG. I think moving into 1.26 for the quarterfinals and onwards, if Tracer's coming back in the meta in any way, Talon are going to be happy about it.
Wow. With that, we do wrap up Group A. And I think it was a pretty fitting way for it to all turn out as well. And it's funny, we touched on it just a little bit throughout that series, but right out the gate, Monster Shield Korea looked like they were probably going to be the top team in this group, the team to beat. They looked like they were going to be the best. And then they suffered an early loss to EXL, and we threw all that into question. Turns out that was actually the anomaly. EXL is still a good team, but they are also a team that's ended up taking the 4th place finish in this group. MSKR did end up securing that 1st place finish. So for all those questions, actually, we've just gone full circle, returned straight back to where we were at the start with MSKR the favorites and proving it to be so.
All right, we'll see what happens now because Group B is still left one unanswered. The last question remaining is where will CAG and Nova end here? Is it going to be CAG like Monster Shield claiming that first place, or will Nova complete an upset? All that and more we'll find out after this break.